swear this song sounds like Selena, I Could Fall in Love. Every time I hear it, y'all. But hey, that's neither here nor there. Welcome to my channel, Watch Your Mouth Reviews. This is your boy James, where I am here to give my honest review while trying to watch my mouth. It's not gonna happen. But that's okay. We'll live to fight another day. Joining me as always is my co-host, Mrs. Beth. I'll say what's up to her.
Hey y'all, Thug Life, welcome in. I'm excited to be here. I think that James has done a wonderful job recapping the show. I hope that everyone subscribes and likes the video. And yes, it does sound like the bridge, that little like instrumental breakdown. And If I Could Fall in Love by her, it
It
does.
does. I was gonna start singing that song and everything. It's like I could fall in love. No, I'm just playing, y'all. I want to say hey to Shani. Thank you for being here first. We appreciate you. Hi, Naya. I see you here too. Thank you so much. Looking at the picture, they collectively look a mess. They absolutely do, but that's all right. But anyways, y'all, also, I want to mention as well, we are supporting Shayna in her journey of trying to get remonetized. We appreciate it if you guys would subscribe to her current channel as well as the new channel she has as a backup channel. She deserves way more on YouTube, and I really hope that she tells me a message, James, I'm remonetized, we good, but we still gonna support her either way, even if she gets monetized. So make sure you guys subscribe to Shayna's channel. Her information of both channels are in my description box. She does great content. I love watching her. I watch her primarily when I'm at work, so I really do appreciate her, and we want to show Shayna some love. So now that we got all of our pleasantries, hey Mel NYC Reviews, I appreciate you too. Also subscribe to Mel's channel as well, y'all. I gotta put the link there too one of these days. But let's talk about this mess because they did way too much this episode of this part two reunion. Way too much. You almost forgot these was doctors and doctors' wives and lack thereof. But the show opens up with this whole tea spill about Damon being out here in these streets and whether or not he got some lady's number. That's a lady apparently walked up to Simone saying Damon asked for her phone number. And Heavenly was all like, do you believe her? And she was all like, I don't know. And Contessa said, well, I imagine that Damon is miserable married to you, so he's human. And I said, Contessa,
That was disgusting for
it,
being. That's more than just a tit for tat, a back and forth. You have attacked this woman's entire being. You talking about it would be miserable to be with her. Why would you even think that way unless you really want to be with a woman and say, damn, I would be miserable being with her?
mhm,
Listen,
yeah. It was like that was so uncalled for. But what made it even worse is when Heavenly said, your titties is all messed up, you over there got a box job done. And y'all have to remember Contessa removed her breast tissue because she had abnormal mammograms and she wanted to prevent getting breast cancer because her mother had passed from it. So I did feel like Heavenly, that was going too far. That was going way too
she
far.
said that she is somebody who is so that would make people miserable to be with, attack the whole foundation of her marriage unprovoked. And you had a elective procedure to protect your health, yes, but you could have done like Jackie and put some implants up in them things because they did look crazy. So sorry, just saying they did.
Those are implants. Because she
Well,
came on
then she needs to fire her cosmetic surgeon because they didn't look right.
no, what it is, y'all, is she's lost too much weight. She's lost way too much. I was looking at Contessa, like literally every time the camera would pan on her, one to see the teeth thing, because Heavenly put that out there on social media about her teeth. But the other thing I was looking at is I was really looking at the size of her head and her body. Y'all, Contessa, something is wrong. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's really body dysmorphia or if it's something more serious than that. Something is going on with Contessa that she's not come out and say because she has lost way too much weight. Like, and it's almost scary. Like, I hope she's okay. I really do. Like, all bullshit aside, I hope Contessa is okay because she has lost a lot of weight. But moving on from there, we then have a moment to where Andy was like, or Simone was like, the problem with Contessa is whether or not she shared her business publicly or personally with you, it's not your job to then go to social media and expose it. And once again, I want people to stop saying this. I want people to stop saying this because that's not what Heavenly did. I want y'all to be correct in what Heavenly did, because then I would be on everyone's side about this if y'all were correct. Heavenly did not expose or did not say anything about Contessa's marriage on her YouTube channel. All she did was answer a question, and she said, based on what we are seeing, because we all saw it. So are we saying we did not see him verbally abuse her season 7 and season 8? Are we saying that that did not exist? Because I'm not going to rewrite history to make Contessa and Scott look good. I'm not going to do it. So I want y'all to be clear. Exactly. And that's what I'm so pissed about, because it was like, y'all are really trying to skate over this lady's feelings because, one, I get it. It's easy to go back and forth with Heavenly. I get it. It's easy to pick a fight with her knowing that the whole entire fan base is going to be on the opposing side versus Heavenly. I totally get that. But I need people to understand Heavenly did not do what they're telling her that she did. And that's why she has a hard time processing this, is because that's not what she did.
I partially am starting to feel like after watching this, like the only reason that Contessa was brought back was in a similar way that Sweet Tea was brought back. They brought back Sweet Tea thinking they would run off Quad. Quad's only ally has always been, for the most part, in Heavenly. They've all had problems and complained season after season about Heavenly's behavior, and they probably thought they was gonna win by that little YouTube thing, but Heavenly took her ass to Patreon and is still thriving. So I partially feel like Contessa is pushing this narrative because it may have been discussed as a way to get back into the group. And I don't put it past her with her being cool with Simone and Sweet Tea. It seems like the rest of the cast feels bad for some of the choices they've made, but Contessa and Heavenly's beef is so old, and I'm glad that Heavenly was like less argumentative
Hmm.
compared to how she normally would be, because I think this time she was prepared, like, oh, this bitch is coming for me for no reason. So, Contessa, talk about something else.
Yeah. I want to, now that you mentioned you and your husband got therapy, I want you to talk about that next season.
They
I
didn't.
don't.
That's a lie. I don't think that her and her husband got therapy. There's not a clinician on the planet that would say that they don't need therapy any longer, or that would encourage this couple to continue on without separation. There's not a fucking clinician on the planet, maybe Dr. G and the shady ones, but I don't think that Contessa did that. Here's the thing, she may be married to medicine and she's the medicine, Miss Contessa, but don't come on a fucking reality show if you're not going to talk about your marriage. And Contessa has not spoken about her marriage at all. She's cried about Heavenly, complained about Heavenly. What else did she give this season? Nothing.
Right. Yes. Hey, DM Rocks, thank you for being us. Hey, haven't got on my nerves jumping in the quad and sweet tea argument. We'll get to that in a minute. I haven't gotten there yet, but we'll get to that in a minute. So after that, Contessa told Heavenly, I thought we really had a genuine friendship. And Heaven says, we did. And she goes, and that's why it's so hard for me to really open up to you. And Heaven's like, I've already apologized to you, Contessa. Like, what more do you want? She goes, I don't need an apology. You know what? We can't get through to you. And I said, Contessa, the reason why you can't get through to her is because you're trying to pin something on her that she did not do. And she's automatically on the defense because she knows that's what you're coming for. Like, she knows that's what you're coming for. And I think that for me, listening to what you're really mad at, you're not mad at the fact that Heavenly is on YouTube because you were on the YouTube channel with her at a couple of times. You're mad at the fact that Scott probably told you he's upset about it and probably didn't want you to disclose anything to her. And you're trying to beat her at her own game before she does expose something. That's all that this is. That's all that this is. It's, you're trying to beat her at her own game. You're calculated in that way. I can see that. You have to watch people who know big words and whoever to like recite the dictionary as if it's a book. Like, you have to be careful of people like that. You do, because they play on words a lot. I like when
Contessa is also a Gemini, and I'd like to speak to that as a Gemini. There's nothing that I say and do that is not calculated in some way. We are extremely analytical, and trust and believe. How she responds is thought out. So yeah, I'm just supporting your little statement.
Absolutely. Um, I love Contessa's dress and Toy's dress and beautiful sitting down. Jackie definitely looks like a little boy. Speaking of Scott and Contessa, you see Homeboy's face later in the episode. He's talking about he walks into a door. Okay, buddy. I disagree. Heavenly actually did do that. There's no way if I'm friends with someone, I would discuss their business on my YouTube channel. That's not what she did. Go back and watch it. That's not what she did.
Also, Contessa was with her while
Yeah.
her business was being discussed. There were lives that she called Contessa when she was not there to discuss it. So
hmm
Contessa, if Contessa had never went on the YouTube channel,
We would have a point.
we'd have a point. But
Yeah.
the fact that she did, it
It
erases any
invalidates everything.
credibility. Yeah.
Contessa went on there twice and disclosed her business twice on Heavenly's YouTube channel. So the fact that she did that, that automatically like divulges anything that Heavenly could say or do because Contessa already planted the seed, regardless of that being friends. And let's be very clear: Heavenly has not just started doing; she's been doing this for seasons. So why is it okay for her to talk about the other ladies and everything, and Contessa have no problem with it? But when it comes to her leaving the show potentially, now she wants to have an issue with it. Come on, like no, that's not how that works. That's not fair. Y'all know I don't like Heavenly or Quad. I think they're mean girls, just like Jackie and Heaven. But she allows Heavenly to do her dirty work. She does. I don't
That's a
disagree with
very
that.
good point.
I don't
That's a
disagree
very
with
good
you. I
point.
think Jackie does get Heavenly to be her mouthpiece. I don't disagree with that at all. So, in terms of that, but when it comes to Contessa, I'm sorry. No, I don't see it the same way because if Contessa was never on that YouTube channel, we would have a point about Heavenly.
Yeah. It
I'm sorry, but Heavenly is
contradicts
on
herself.
is one no. I cannot stand Heavenly as a character on this show. Heavenly is wrong and tired next. Okay, that's fine. Tired twin, my friend just told me that yesterday, girl, in order to get on vacation, I gotta break it down for the price and the ports of the hotel, the all-day trips. You need details? Maybe. We need a cash shake up. Jackie Simone and Buddy can kick rocks. They're never letting go of Buddy. They're never letting go of Heavenly. Y'all could forget that. Heavenly plays way too much of an intricate part on the show for them to get rid of. Them producers love when she stirs up this mess.
And the cast does to a certain extent as well, because I noticed that whenever they tell Heavenly things that they don't want to get out. I'm using air quotes, right? But then they know that Heavenly's going to put it out there or call it out. So the cast, to a certain extent, also utilizes Heavenly as a way to get their stuff out there. They also use Heavenly as a crutch to prevent themselves from being held accountable or seen for what's really going on. Heavenly, if she leaves the show, it'll be on her own merit. And I do feel like that may be coming soon because Dr. Daddy ain't never had this much to say without
hmm
saying too much. So I do feel like when she leaves, it will be on her own merit. And I think it'll be because her husband will say, "You done with these hoes. We don't need the money." And I think it's coming in the next few years.
Man, I think Heavenly's boring to you because you've tuned her out. I think that that's why she's bored to you because you tuned her out, like a lot of people have. And I don't begrudge that because Heavenly is a lot. I'm
If
not
you take
saying that
out the drama from her, though, she's
yeah,
boring.
she is.
There's
Uh,
nothing happening. So that's the other thing. If she leaves, then there'll be no drama, then we'll be bored as hell.
Absolutely. That's why I'm saying I get it. And let me explain something to y'all. I don't like or dislike Heavenly. I understand from a business acumen why she's here. And I'm fair. If and as I told y'all once again, had Contessa never went on Heavenly's YouTube channel to disclose her own business, and I've played it on my channel, the exact thing that she said. Had she never did that, I would be on Contessa's side because I love Contessa. I do. But I cannot stand with her in this one. I'm sorry. I cannot stand with her on this one. So good dramas exist. They used to have fun. It was never this much bad drama. I think I disagree. They started out with a fight. That's how they got put on. And
Right.
it never went down from there. It never went down from there.
Toya, Lisa, Nicole, for like them two used to really, and Mariah used to always be in fights that turn to something physical. So at least Heavenly could fight without using her hands.
hmm I like that Damon's pants still reach his ankles even when he sat down and his socks with his shoes. I didn't like none of the outfits they had on. The guys had on. They were all ugly. I get the feeling Andy does not like Heavenly because he's always bringing up her social media like he did Candace. But you realize he didn't fire Candace either. when Candace had her was on social media. He talked to her about it, he chastised her about it, but he never let her go because he knew the value that Candace brought to the show. He knew that was definitely eyes on the show. That's why he kept Candace. And he's going to do the same thing with Heavenly. He's never getting rid of Heavenly. Heavenly has to leave on her own accord. Um, okay. Um, it was a balance. There is no longer a balance. There's only bad drama now because that's what they feel like we want to see. When realistically, I love the scene where Heavenly and her son were in her dental practice and she was giving him the scopes. I loved looking at that. I watch that all the time because I love how she was really trying to school him on dentistry. Same thing with Dr. Jackie, same thing with Dr. Contessa, same thing with Dr. Simone. I love seeing them in their practices. I would love to see more of it. But society wants to see the drama because these are educated women who, push the envelope of drama. So that's why they're here. Ever notice how Bravo women don't like wordsmiths? They don't. That's why Contessa has a hard time with a lot of the women on the cast, especially with Heavenly. Candace was never as bad as Heavenly. Candace is somewhat classy. No, they're about equal in my mind. Look how far Gregory's pants come up when you sit down. Stop. Buddy never surprises me. No, she doesn't. That's why I find her tired and boring. I didn't like Damon kept saying to me like a man annoying. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute, y'all. Y'all are cutting up in these comments. I like how Toya's kids crack up on her. I do too. Not Buddy. Y'all crazy. So we move on from there, and then we get to a segment with Sweet Tea. And, it's brought up directly of her wanting kids and everything like that. She said that she tried a specific treatment. It was unsuccessful. So she's going to do IVF. Her first consultation is in March for that. And I don't know how Quad interjected herself into this, but Quad said that, because I think the question was, how did you feel about Dr. G's, telling you we have 2 years to do this? And she was saying that he didn't say that we had 2 years to give him a baby. He said that, okay, in 2 years, let's try a different method. I think that was bullshit, but
Manipulation. And
yep.
she sounds like a domestic violence victim. And I'm
Absolutely.
not saying that to be shady. Like she genuinely, when we be helping certain clients to get into DV shelters, and then one day we'll get calls from them. Well, see, this isn't actually what happened. You trying to rewrite and fix what we already saw. And you
Yeah.
cannot do that because he was this way before he got with you. And we got to watch it on TV.
Absolutely. 100% agree with that. So Quad interjects and says that she would like to the respect to always be there regardless of the social status. She would love there to be a time where she's respected and that she is heard in the relationship. And so they didn't know that she was referencing Sweet Tea, but she was. And Sweet Tea makes it a moment and she goes, "Girl, you always talking about you always have Gregory's name in your mouth. Like you mustn't get enough in the divorce settlement." And I'm looking at her like, man, you just said out your own mouth that the house is now in your name, the house that he got with Quad on a short sale. And if she wanted the house, she could have it because she probably had 50-50 interest. So I'm trying to figure out, where do you think Gregory has all this money when he was being cheap as hell when it came to your wedding? I didn't like that, y'all. I thought that was really sad of her to say. Instead of her saying, you know what, as someone who went through a marriage with him, I can appreciate you having that concern because you understand it the same way I do. But please believe we got this. That's what she should have said. But the fact that she was trying to throw a slug in there, and I don't think Quad was really coming at her with a slug. I just think that she understands her more than anybody because she was once married to that man too. So I just felt like I didn't like that. How did you feel about that, Mrs. Best?
Sweet Tea needs to shut the fuck up and put her cigarette out because how are you commenting on a divorce that the person you're married to went through? This your first marriage. You don't know shit but you want to say something about the marriage that she left. Why does it bother Sweet Tea so much? I'd ask you that Quad has moved on. Anytime Quad offers joy or says something nice to Sweet Tea, she gets mad. It's like you could tell in Sweet Tea's mind that she's like, oh, this is the ex, so I have to have a beef. You came onto this woman's platform because she got a divorce. So you talking about what she got in the divorce settlement, even though we saw your husband crying on the internet and crying at the reunion about how she used him, kept her own money and dipped. Like, you don't get to comment on someone else's divorce. Like, Sweet Tea thinks that because she's Greg's wife now, that she could just say whatever the fuck she wants to who she wants and how she wants, but that's not the case. So Sweet Tea, I don't see Sweet Tea doing well on this show at all. I just do not see her doing well. I agree with your comment, a bitch say when she can't read for nothing. You could tell there's a delay. The way she hold her bottom lip out, that is Bubba Gump in a skirt.
That's
That
not
is Bubba Gump in a
true.
skirt.
I'm
I'm
not.
trying to tell you, but I can't stand her because it's like, be with your man, love your man, but you don't have to hate on the ex. My response would be, okay, thank you. I'd rather not discuss that with you because you the ex, or like the response James just gave. But she's always throws shade, and then when she has to address it, or when she's held accountable, or somebody gets to her for the shade that she throws, then suddenly she acts innocent. Bitch, you can't even speak in your own house. We watched how he talked to you this season. Nothing has changed.
And that's the point I want to make right quick since you said that. I feel like she doesn't want Quad to really put out there her experience of the relationship because it may do one of two things. It either mirrors her experience or she doesn't believe that's the man. Like a lot of people don't believe that that's the man that Quad painted him out to be, even though he admitted it himself on the reunion show the season they got divorced. But I digress. A lot of people want to always put her as the full blame of why that marriage didn't work by saying she never loved him. She only married him because he had money.
He
To
admitted to cheating on her in the reunion. I believe it was the second to last reunion. Yeah, we went out with I was with my guys and a girl came back to the room. Sir, why did you have a hotel room married in the city that you live in and all of this? So it's like separate from the abuse that Greg has admitted to. He's also admitted to cheating on Quad. Yet because people don't like Quad on the show and how she behaves, because she does act like she's holier than thou, that does not mean that she deserved what she went through, and it doesn't mean that she did not go through what she went through. Dr. G was a terrible partner to her.
mm-hmm,
Terrible, terrible. So it's baffling that everyone wants to ignore that, Sweet Tea included. What you gonna do when you crying on a reunion and he's admitting to meeting up with his fellas and bringing a girl back to the room? What
right.
you gonna do then? Sweet Tea is
Absolutely.
so dumb.
Sweet Tea is savoring. So Sweet Tea has time to get where they are, though she's only 32. These women were on to their 40s and 50s and 60s. Don't forget Dr. Jackson in their 60s. But I just feel like this. To me, this was not the platform for her. I feel like she went on the show with the motive. Like, okay, I married the man. I watched the show because she can't tell me she didn't watch the show before meeting Dr. Gregory. I'm sorry, it's too late. I feel like she went on this with the intention that she would take over, and it didn't happen that way. That's just my opinion of her. Choir has definitely put their how Dr. D shows up, and Sweet Tea knows that she has the same man Quad had. Absolutely, she said it herself with Dr. Heavenly, and I like how we have a lot of people have revisionist history when she said Quad was right about a few things about him, how he had lied and said that there were robbers in the house because she forgot to put on the alarm. I will never forget that. That shit is crazy to me. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, thank you, Abyss Day. When I like the video, y'all. Um, how could she think the audience don't understand her marriage and her man when we watched him longer than she has? We saw the signs and red flags. We sure did. Uh, Quad does have 2 DUIs. Mariah confirmed it earlier season. We knew that too. It was all on the blogs.
We all knew, but
We all
now
knew that.
because they want Quad gone and they can't get her gone, and she got drunk again on camera, now suddenly they want to bring that up again. They
Right,
don't have nothing new or present to throw against Quad. And that's my thing. Like, I get why people may not like Quad. I get why people may not like Heavenly, but specifically with Quad, what the hell has she done in recent times?
right,
I-
right. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. But we gonna move on from that, y'all. They should have made her talk about those DUIs. To be fair,
but they're done.
they're
What
done.
what what is there
Yeah,
to
like
talk
that was back
about?
in
You drove drunk.
2023. Yeah, like
You drove drunk, you got caught. She clearly got a license again because she's driving again. Like, what is there to talk about? Once it's happened, it's happened. If that's the case, we say the same thing for Karen.
right.
on Housewives of Potomac. Like these people never want to talk about it, but of all the things to talk about, unless you're telling me you got a drinking problem, though
It was
it's not
different
good to get a
problems for
DUI, it's
Jennifer.
not that interesting. You
It,
drove drunk and you got caught.
it was the season. It was during the season she was on Married to Medicine. Yeah, in 2023, I read the documents.
And it's
That is
2025.
2025. We don't need to talk about that. She didn't go to jail for it. So, like Karen did, because we could talk about Karen because Karen got a DUI at the beginning of the season and then tried to lie her way through it. Quad didn't do that. She just chose not to talk about it. And don't bring it up now to validate a point that she drinks. Like, that's irrelevant now. Yeah. I think she does as well. I think that she has a problem, but at the same time, if you're not bringing up something that is current, I can't validate that because at the end of the day, she paid her dues. We never heard about it after it made the blog, so it's like, what else can we do from that?
You know,
So,
it's funny too with this cast when Quad was doing well at the time when the Sister Circle was popular and she was getting into her little cliques and stuff.
mhm,
They were so upset and jealous of that. We've been forgotten, this and that, when sometimes your friends just grow. But then when it suits them, they want to bring up negative stuff for Quad. And that's what I don't like about the cast as a whole. Because it's like, including Heavenly, y'all be so quick to try and come for each other, but don't want to talk about shit yourselves. It drives me crazy. She is struggling in the big house.
we're gonna pray for Karen because we know she can't wear her wig, she can't do none of that. So, yeah, we know she's struggling.
With Jen Shaw in there thriving. That's how you know
Lord,
she did it.
Jen Shaw gonna get out this week. Ain't that some shit? Lord Jesus. But let's move on, y'all. So they did talk about Heavenly and the tweet that she posted in regards to Dr. G being not respected in the medical field and all the hashtags, one mentioning pedophile. Dr. Heavenly says that, it was a rebuttal because Sweet Tea said that she wasn't respected in the medical field. But Dr. Heavenly does take accountability and says, I was absolutely wrong for posting that. I should not have done it. And she did apologize. And Sweet Tea had no choice but to take it because what else can she do? So then Andy asked the question, do you think that there is a space where you and Sweet Tea can maybe one day bury the hatchet and hopefully become friends? And Dr. Heavy says, I have nothing but love and respect for Sweet Tea because she came and did what Phaedra couldn't do today, which is actually show up and take the punches. So I have a lot of respect for her. And Sweet Tea says, okay, maybe I'll unblock her. And then they have a good laugh and a good kiki moment. Don't last long, but it's growth. That's what we say. Um, what do we talk about in the comments? I don't think they were jealous. I think they were upset that Kwa only wants to come around them when the cameras are on and then deem the girls of the sister circle her only friends.
Of course, because while she was going through her divorce, the girls were not supporting her, were not substantiating her claims. They were telling her that she was the problem, even though they were fully aware that she was dealing with physical, emotional, and mental and domestic abuse. So, what do they expect? See, that's what I mean. Sometimes people have selective memory when it comes to Quad. Quad
Because
does
here's the
not
thing.
handle stuff in the right way. And in some ways, she does too much the same way that Heavenly does too much. And the thing of it is, when people do too much, sometimes that gets in the way of letting people see things for what it is. Those women were terrible to Quad, to where she became closer with the women on Sister Circle. And she spoke about that season when they would hear how the women treated her in the group. They were like, well, you've got us. And she's still friends with them to this day. So it's the cast was jealous. They did hate on her because you can't treat people like shit and then get mad when they go and they cleave to the people who are not treating them that way. You just can't do it. It
I
doesn't
agree with
matter if there's
that.
half truths either, to address the other comment. Because the one full truth that there was that she was dealing with abuse, she was dealing with infidelity. He did not want her to do well. We watched her, she was barely able to get that stupid ass puppy line. So it's one of the things where half truths or not, if your friend is going through abuse and they don't want to tell you the full truth, as someone who works professionally in fields where I deal with people going through abuse, 95% of my clients who are DV clients or 95% who are going through some form of separation or divorce from someone like Dr. G is not going to tell the full truth because they are embarrassed and their mindset is impacted.
I agree.
So
Yeah,
It's one of those things for me where it's hard. Like as a professional, I understand why she did that, but then also as a regular person, it's like you shouldn't have to tell the full truth to your friends if they know that this man has been putting you through hell, which they
exactly.
did.
Exactly. I 100% agree. What were they jealous of? I don't know if it really like jealous of her per se. I think it's more so a envy that she left this man and didn't suffer any dire consequence after the
Hmm.
fact that she had left this
Because to
man.
Simone, as quiet as it's kept, wanted to leave. Well, we know that part's not quiet. She did not want to be with Cecil. If
Yes.
a cast of people can convince you to be with your man, you don't really want to be with them. Nobody should have a say so, and if you be with them. And the thought that Claude is part of the problem for the second comment is exactly what's wrong with people is society a little bit. You cannot think that anybody is a part of the problem as it relates to domestic violence. There is nothing that anybody can do to warrant or make it okay for them to physically, emotionally, or mentally abuse you. There's no excuse for it. And that applies to all people. There's no excuse for it. It doesn't matter if you're having a hard time, if you was in a dark place, if you was an addict and going through all of that. It doesn't matter.
Thank you, JJ. This was my point here too. I remember that. I remember that Quad got looked over because everybody was so focused on that same reunion. Everybody was so focused on the fact that Simone was talking about she wanted a divorce that no one took the time to see that Quad is visibly upset because her husband just confessed that
Yep.
he was in a hotel room with the woman. But we
Yep.
want to act like Quad is the problem all the time.
And
But
she's not.
in reality, she's looked over because a lot of people say, "Oh, she was a gold digger. Oh, she really didn't love that man." And to me, I kind of feel like it's an even trade. It's an even trade.
And
Okay.
people need to be saying the same thing about Sweet Tooth, who watched the show and then came on it saying, I'll give you the baby. And I was glad Claude brought that up at the reunion because she can't make good on that promise of giving him the baby that he wanted. She said that her first thing she said, I get a little access to the money. Not he brings me peace or makes me smile. So it's like, y'all want to call Claude a gold digger, but then Sweet Tea has admitted to it time
Yeah,
and
and then
time again.
we want to say it's something else for her because we can see that there's genuine love there. So it's like everybody is in genuine love at the beginning of their marriage. But when
Yep.
you start to get the cores of the issues, as we saw when we met Quad and Dr. Gregory, we saw them at the core of their issues. Now we want to say, oh, it's because she really didn't love him. She really didn't want to give him a baby. Do you really want to give somebody a baby who is mistreating you? I know a lot of
Mhm.
women do it, but do you really think that that is the best circumstance?
Right.
Come on. That's why I say, y'all, I think a lot of people just want to just paint her to because she's theatrical. I get it.
It's confirmation bias.
It
It's
is.
very
Yeah.
common. That's the first thing they teach people going to school to deal with people, whether you're going to be in mental health or not. Searching for things that align with your belief. And Quad gives a lot of validation to the negative things that people say about her because she's not all good. I don't want people to just think I'm a Quad stan. She's not all good, and she
No.
does move in shady ass ways and also do too much and is theatrical. I'm tired of the way she speak, all of that. But like a lot of people are just looking into what confirms how they already feel. If you look for it, you're gonna find it. But
Yeah.
if you take that out of it and it's an unconscious thing that people do and actually like rewatch and look into it, these ladies has been awful to Quad and she don't owe them shit.
I
Not
agree.
one of them. And then they get mad when she shows them and acts like she don't owe them shit. They get mad when she makes a friend. She gets a man and they're like, "Oh, how come we weren't told?" But then when she didn't have a man, "Why are you here? You're not married to medicine." Then it's the, "Oh, your man is not medicine. Why are you here?" All this crazy stuff. And it's like, just admit y'all don't like her.
Right. That's
Like
all
for
you
the
have to do.
cast, just admit y'all don't like her.
Exactly. So we then move on. We have Dr. Mimi coming to the stage, which I don't even know why she was even here because
She
she,
looked a damn fool.
yes,
Her
as
makeup was
after I saw
horrible.
her, I was like, oh wow. I said, okay, Mimi. They welcomed her to the show. A lot. It seems like a lot of the cast really does like her. They've all spent time with her on and off the show, so I think that that's great. She gave a nice little cute assessment of all the ladies, and I think that she may have a bigger role in the Friend of next season. I don't see them swapping her out with Dr. Contessa. I don't. I feel like Dr. Contessa has solidly got her spot back because she's been at the seating the whole time as a Friend of. So I think that she's back full time. We then have a scene where Dr. G and all the men show up and they separate him. And from what we understand, it's because of the safety reason between Dr. G and King. So King is with all the other guys, and Dr. G is in Letitia's dressing room, which is a floor below where everybody else is. So they apparently are keeping Sweet Tea and Dr. G separate from everybody else, from what I'm seeing. And the men are just telling King, I don't think it's you that has the problem. And King said, I can coexist with anybody. It doesn't bother me. Like, I'm over what happened. And I think that, I can appreciate it, but then I'm also like, well, I mean, I can understand both sides of it. I really can, but it is what it is. But everybody looked a fool. Them all their outfits was ugly. I was like, damn, I would not buy a suit from neither one of them. Like, I just no, that was just all terrible.
Dr.
Um,
G is dumb if he really thought that he was going to be put in the same room with everybody when you try to take an issue with someone and turn it into a legal matter. Like, of course they're going to separate you. What do you expect? And what better place to put you than in your wife's dressing room?
absolutely, absolutely, I
The hell?
100% agree. So from there, the men come out on stage, and the first thing we are addressing is the issues between Dr. G and Dr. Damon. And how this originally started was the accusation that Sweet Tea had said about how Dr. Damon had cheated on Heavenly, and that Heavenly told Sweet Tea that he had done so. And they bring up, the tweet that Heavenly, had said. Now, Dr. Damon said that that was wrong after going rounds and rounds with Dr. G about it. But, he said from his perspective, he asked Gregory a question. Do you think I'm really a cheater? And he said, I don't know what you would do. And to me, I'm going to be real. In Dr. G's defense, that is a fair answer because you don't know. Like, and so when Dr. Damon said, no, I want you to speak on my character. You've known me for years. Do you really think I would do that? And you didn't say nothing, which made you a coward. And I'm like, to me, Damon, I see what you're saying. I do. But on the course of that, how real of friends are you and Dr. Gregory? I could see if it was Scott. I could see if it was Cecil. I could see if it was Curtis. And I could see if it was Eugene. If it was one of them, then he would have a solid ass point. But Dr. Gregory, I don't think their friendship is as solid. So I don't necessarily agree that he owes him this allegiance. Mrs. Best, how do you feel about that?
Okay, so let's just call a spade a spade. I call him Dr. Daddy. Daddy, he ain't really interacted with none of these people too much on the show. He hasn't because somebody's always in an issue with his wife. Separate from that, he was an ER doctor for many, many years early on the show. So I don't think that he interacted with the men as often. So I can agree to that. I don't think he has as deep as a relationship. There are plenty of psychiatrists in Atlanta, if y'all get what I'm trying to say. And it just doesn't seem like, I don't know. I can't see Damon just referring people to Dr. G to just refer people to Dr. G. He also has terrible reviews in the community. I'm gonna just say that. But I definitely also do not feel like cheating is a character attack. I think Damon was going a little too far with that. I'm a real man, and listen, you know my character. You can know somebody's character all you want. You can know someone who's been good to you, feeds the homeless, and does all the right things, but they could still be cheating on their partner.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, cheating doesn't define who you are. It's a flaw, but it doesn't define who you are. So I was like, this is stupid and semantics. Like, at the end of the day, nobody can prove if Damon cheated or not. I personally feel like where there's smoke, there's fire. So if there's smoke, then there's likely a fires. And I'm going to say that this rumor is the smoke. So I do think Damon has done something. He may not be cheating right now today, but I do think he's had his fun in Atlanta, just like the rest of these fools. I think the only man up there who probably has not cheated, honestly, is Eugene.
I agree. I
That's
agree.
just how I've always felt about the cast. I don't like Greg at all. I think he's highly manipulative, and I see him using certain strategies that are taught to people to practice and help people with their mental health. You could tell that Dr. G uses that as a weapon. Also, it's since been proven because Heavenly dropped the receipts. I believe I sent it to James. The whole text thread that Dr. G absolutely did refuse to see Damon's patients because of what was said and done
Mhm.
on the show, which goes against the ethics that one has to take to become a psychologist and or a mental health clinician of some sort. So, Dr. G, I don't know why you came on this show, but stick to cooking food with your new wife on YouTube. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, but no, I knew that when he said, because it's like, to me it doesn't make sense, and he's petty like that. Dr. G is petty like that, so I knew that Damon wasn't lying, but I kind of felt like Damon was doing way too much. Like, and then when you hear the ladies, in the back chiming in heavenly, she said, "Oh, he a bitch." I was like, "Oh Lord, y'all should stop letting these women just."
But Heavenly did not lie. Dr. G is a bitch made nigga. He is. He's bitch made in every way that a person could be. He just
Mhm.
is. How dare you let people's mental health suffer just because you have a personal beef with somebody on a fucking show that you shouldn't even need? How dare you? So I mean, if he wasn't respected in the community, if he was respected, he's not going to be respected no more. He doesn't even carry himself in the way that a psychiatrist should. He doesn't really show as much of him being medicine. I understand he's part of medicine, but we can't even see much of him being in medicine, and we never have. Why? Because there's so many HIPAA laws attached to therapy. That's why I say half the therapy we see on TV don't actually be legit because the
Mm,
people he really working with will never really be able to see. So it's like, why are you here? I'm sick of him.
yeah. So, and the next topic they talk about is, the beef between King and Dr. G and all the situation. Curtis made a point to say that, when Dr. G first got back on the show with Sweet Tea, he did rub it in Quad's face about how he has this new woman and she had to sit back and watch all of that. And from that, it was funny because I could hear Quad saying, and didn't have a problem with it, and didn't have a problem with it. And I agree. I don't think that she had a problem with Dr. G moving on originally. I think it was a problem when Sweet Tea got embraced by the other ladies. It kind of did feel like a slight. And I can understand that. I can. Because I'm like, well, whose allegiance do y'all follow? So, you know, in terms of that, it was funny to watch all of this. And when Dr. Simone was like, you gave us your ass to kiss, so we bonded with Greg and stuff. And I was just looking at Simone and I'm just like, I know I'm gonna catch hell for saying this, but that made Simone look two-faced to me because you were there when all of the things that transpired in my marriage transpired. You were there. And for you to say, I gave you my ass to kiss, and so you felt like that was enough for you to then go and rub elbows with my ex, knowing what he did and knowing he has a new wife, it shows where your allegiance was. So you can't talk about me putting myself first and giving you my ass to kiss when you just did the same thing to me. So,
Because
you
that's
know,
literally what Simone is saying. You need to kiss our ass to be on this show since you're not married to medicine.
right.
And then Simone also admits in a little altercation, yes, we did bring him back on this show. So she admitted and showed herself as the ringleader of the fucking circus. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Simone is a true mean girl. I guess he do got terrible reviews. Sure does. Sure does. A lot of people do not return to him, and he survives on referrals, which is likely why he's not practicing right now.
Hmm.
And Damon was
He
condescending.
was. We're not going to disagree with that. Like, he was very condescending. And I always felt like he was what we're seeing. I always, based on how Heavenly shows up, I oh, I hear echo. No, I always felt like he was like exactly what we're seeing. I never really put him on this pedestal that she has. Now, when it comes to the cheating, I don't necessarily see it in a current time. Maybe in a past time, maybe he did. I don't see it current, is because he moves very carefully and very strategically. He's on TV. Somebody is going to recognize him going to a hotel or his car parked somewhere. Someone's going to recognize that, and he knows this. That's why he doesn't do it. He's very careful. It's Atlanta. Atlanta is small. Somebody knows everybody. So that's why I don't think he does it currently, because it's going to get back to heavenly. So, yeah. I'm just going to discuss it that she does not care about the other women being abused. Who are you talking about, Simone? To me, that didn't prove the reason why he did not want to see them.
It did prove it. There was an actual text thread going around online. I gotta find you on social media so I can send it to you. And it literally says, "Why are you?" I'm not going to. It was Dr. G asking Damon about the rumors and all of this stuff, right? As it relates to the cheating and Heavenly's mouth and all that she said, like what's on the screen right now about being called a pedo and all this crazy shit that Heavenly said, which Heavenly really needs to watch her mouth,
Mm-hmm.
because the stuff that she says is disparaging. But that's another topic. But Damon got a text from Greg about that, and Damon was like, I can't, I mean, that's her mouth. I'm not doing that, and I don't agree with that. And Greg was like, make your wife stop. And Damon was like, huh? Or what? Are you threatening me in the text thread? And Greg verbatim said, if you don't make Heavenly stop, I will stop seeing the patients you refer. So that is the reason. It's been proven in several different forms of receipts and text, and that's not okay. That is separate from our like of a show as an audience.
Yes.
Like, that is separate for that. That's my goal, is to eventually become a psychiatrist. And that is so ethically wrong. Psychiatrists have to take morals and oaths the same way doctors do, right? Because you're dealing with someone's mental health, which is so tricky. You should not refuse to see clients based upon your personal beef with another doctor. You should absolutely not be doing that. And Damon works in pain management, meaning a lot of his clients will require seeing a psychiatrist to help titrate them off of certain meds, to help
Yes.
them through the detox process, and to address their mental health that pushes them to a substance. So that pisses me off personally as someone working in the community. How dare you, Dr. G, do that? Shame on him. Shame, shame, shame. And a lot of pain management clinics are scams, but not Damon's. It's been reported to be helpful. So I'm just like really annoyed with Dr. G for that. And I'm like, that's why you cooking food that look nasty on the internet with your wife. Makes no sense. Makes no sense. So that just irks my soul. I'm sorry to go on a tangent, James.
No, you're good. No, you're good. It's crazy. She said pediatrician as a dig, and Andy did not talk about it once. Right? Housewives have been fired for less. They have. A lot of pain management clinics are scams. Okay, we've already addressed that. So we then move forward as the men are still talking about, certain situations. Cecil did speak up and tell Damon, well, it's the same thing about the cheating as disparaging as, the pedophile, which is when Damon said, I don't think Heavenly was right in saying that at all. Shoot, that was dead ass wrong. But where I'm coming from is that aside from that, we're friends. We're supposed to have open communication. He needed to pick up the phone and call me and say, hey, and what it is. And I feel like the text, and a lot of people say, well, he did text him. No, he texted him with a threat. That's a different circumstance. And that wasn't shown on camera, which I wish they would have talked about that. I feel like Damon really tried to give him kid gloves when it came to exposing him, because Damon could have exposed this on TV, but he kept it cool. So that's why I say he has a certain level of respect. And yes, they were able to make amends from it. But at the same time, it's still kind of, now knowing what we know today, it still kind of makes Dr. G look kind of, unprofessional. But then, so we get back to the ladies that Squad and Simone are still going back and forth. And they get up and they get in each other's faces. Quad called her a dirty bitch. And Simone looked like she was ready to fight. I said, "Lady, you finna lose all of your medical license over this. This ain't that damn serious." And that let me know that Simone is paying, as Simone is producing. That whole fight scene is Simone producing. Because y'all cannot tell me she is that mad at Quad.
Simone, I think, is upset that she's not respected in the same way as Jackie.
Mm,
I think, and not just like the respect of like, oh, this well known, doctor in Atlanta. Like Jackie, when you think of an OBGYN in Atlanta, you think of her name. Or
yeah,
even the doctor's office that Sweet Tea is working with. I've heard of them as well. Not
Marie.
too many people had spoken about Simone as it relates to celebrities and fame. I think that something Buffy said was actually true on the show. She says Simone ain't shit and she's behind most of the drama in the show and she's very, very jealous. However, she's probably the best doctor. She has the best bedside manner, the best patient care, the best rapport with her patients and stuff. Even though Simone has all of that going for herself, I get the feeling that she's extremely unhappy in her marriage to Cecil. I also get the feeling that her relationship with Jackie is probably still strong, but not the same space that it was. I think that she's triggered and bothered by Heavenly becoming so close to Jackie. And I think that she's bothered because the reunion that was finally about her, when her and Cecil got back together, we come for the next season, and you would think that they would be the forefront of the season, but we were focused on Quad's divorce and life after that. So I do think that Simone wants to have the popularity, the relevancy as the rest of the ladies, and she does have that, but it just seems like she don't view herself that way because she just be hating on people and she has so much control of this show and it shows in so many different ways, but
Yeah.
it's like still not good enough for her because she has no reason to be this angry. Like Quad said, who was next to you helping you look for your daddy all over Memphis seasons ago? It was only Quad, and I believe, was Jackie even there?
Jackie was there. Yeah, it was Quad
I
and
believe
Jackie.
it was just them two. So it's like this lady helped you look for your father, helped you bury him, was genuinely there for you through some very difficult things. So it's like maybe the rest of the cast has a reason to be so angry with Quad, but Quad was a very good friend to Simone. Not to Toya, not to the other people, but at least to Simone, she was a very good friend on and off camera. And all Simone can try to say is, you don't call me when we're off camera. Well, why does a person calling you off camera so important to you? Because I'm sure when you're off camera, you're hard to reach because you're a fucking OBGYN. So you got that much time that you checking for Quad's phone calls? So Simone don't make no sense.
I just feel like, to me, it doesn't make sense that you constantly, every reunion, is trying to always have an issue with her. Like, if y'all understand, this is now maybe the fifth reunion that Simone has tried to pick an issue with Quad over some communication bullshit. So I feel like, to me, I'm tired of seeing this. Like, I'm really tired of seeing this. Quad was not a good friend to Simone. Quietly really only became around when the cameras were available. Just as Mariah, she did a whole lot on this. Um, I agree with that, but at the same time, Quad has reason. Quad has reason because a lot of trust has been burnt
She
between the
was a
two.
good friend to Simone until Simone and them played with her.
Yes.
And that's what y'all got to keep going back to. Quad's behavior in recent seasons, I could totally understand why people don't like her because she does kind of act in a way that's like off-putting. She acts like she thinks she better than everybody, and I can't stand the way she speak. She's like the black Dorit in some ways with a fake ass accent. So
Yeah.
I do see what people see with Quad. What I don't like is that people get so caught up in the now that they forget the reason Quad acts so funny and filthy towards these heifers is because they've done her 25 times dirtier and dogged her out 15 times more than she's done to them. She hasn't come for their job. She did not bring their exes onto the show. She has not, done these things that they have done to her. So it's one of the things where we can have our dislike for Quad, but when looking at the issue, it has nothing to do with how we feel about Claude. It's about what's right and what's wrong. And
Right.
in this situation, she's not done anything to them.
Hmm. And this is what you're seeing here too. We have to call them all out, but we can't just single-handedly call one person out based on one, this being a job, and two, the relationship she had with one of her co-stars and building the friendship. It got burned, and it was all because she wouldn't explain her business to them until she realized what it was.
Mm.
So that's kind of one of those things where I'm kind of like, yeah, I understand what everybody is saying about Quad. I totally hear y'all. And I don't really have the best love for Quad, but I can't pin everything on her the way a lot of social media is doing, a lot of what YouTubers are doing, which is pinning her at the forefront of a lot of the fault. I can't do that because it's not all her fault.
It's
All of
not.
them played a part.
But I
So
also feel like with Quad, if these, so we know these women did you dirty. You keep coming back. You claim that you invested well outside of the show. You have relevancy outside of the show. I personally would be here for Quad leaving. I would, because then if she leaves, who they gonna pick on? I think that we're at the time, in my personal opinion, loving this show. I think that Quad and Heavenly should take a break. If they keep the rest of the cast, Quad and Heavenly should leave, because they've both, the way that they both handle things, they always do too much, and more than they always give more than what they get when it comes to having a beef with people, and it's going to cause and skew how people view them, and it's going to cause people to only see, oh, I don't like this person, so this other person is right. But these other women, I promise y'all, are 50 times worse than Quad and Heavenly.
yeah,
50 times worse.
it just
If he's the
because
quietest
Heavenly,
person in the room, you got to watch out for sometimes.
yeah, it's just because Heavenly and Quad are more boisterous in what they do that the other ladies get overlooked, like Contessa over there, and
Mm-hmm.
and Simone. Even though Simone loud as hell, she gets overlooked a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
Being the forefront of all the bullshit. But a lot of people like to have blinders with her because she's the doctor.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that was pretty much it, y'all. That was Married to Medicine. It was a good second part reunion, but like I said, I kind of agree. I want Quad and Heavenly to leave the show because I want to see what show they would have.
Yeah, Simone. What
Yeah,
else you boys got going
yeah,
on? We gonna watch them pop somebody cherry or something? What's next?
yeah,
Because they don't have shit to give. And Sweet Tea and Dr. G, I don't want to watch. I'm not here for watching women get abused, manipulated, and gaslit by their husbands. I'm not here for that. So I would love them to leave. They need to go. Let's see what everybody else got to
yeah.
give.
I want to see what the show's gonna be if we decide to get rid of the two ones who actually bring the center of drama on the show. I want to see what happens.
Cause Toya will carry it,
Oh
but
yeah, she gonna need
even
to. She got a new house. She gonna need to carry it.
yeah, you ain't.
She gonna need to carry it. No, she gonna need to carry it. She just bought a brand new house. She gonna need to carry it. I'd be damned if she put all that shit. Eugene just opened a brand new business and she fumbled this check. No, she need to. Yeah, she definitely need to keep it. Absolutely. So no, I 100% agree. But I want them to do what society is asking them to do as far as fans of the show. Quad and Heavily leave the show. I want to see what show they have.
Please. Mm-hmm.
I want to see what they do.
And when it becomes unusually cruel, manipulation, gaslighting, and shit that's gonna take us probably a whole season before we're like, oh, this was not good. Like, They don't have much to give. It's gonna be Contessa running around bullshitting, Sweet Tea and Greg bullshitting,
Yeah.
Jackie and Curtis acting like they live together bullshitting. Simone and Cecil, we gonna see him with the kids because he ain't got no job. Like, what are we gonna see?
Boom. There she said it, y'all. She said it. But like I said, I hope y'all ready for this because what if the producers asked them? I hope y'all ready. And we'll see if I recap it. But I know that Heavenly and Quad ain't going nowhere. I just know they're not. I know they're not going anywhere. Because you know what? Bravo likes when us fans, especially those of us of color, they love to get us upset by keeping these two on here. That's why they do it.
Mhm.
If y'all would ignore this shit like I do, y'all wouldn't they wouldn't have nothing. But the fact that they eagerly like I was watching, I don't know who I was watching. She can't stand Heavenly from the pits and read her for Phil. I said, that's crazy you let Heavenly get you like that. Because I know it's a game. I know, I know it's a game. I know Heavenly is playing the game. I know Heavenly is secretly producing behind the scenes. That's why I don't feed into it. Like I said, I don't like or dislike Heavenly, but I understand the game she's playing. I understand the calculation. So, but that's it, y'all. That's about it. Thank you guys for being here once again. I appreciate all of you. If you are not subscribed to me, please subscribe to my channel, especially if you like what you see. Like the video, get the algorithm going, and we will see you back on my channel sometime this week. I will give you guys an extra little video, something nice, something sweet. But thank you guys for being here once again, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.